everyone, welcome to our channel. This time, our lesson for today is about the global city. Before that, let's have define first the term global city. Sociologist Saskia Sassin popularized the term global city in the 1990s. Actually, ang criteria ni Sassin nga makaingon tanga kana is a global city nagbase siya sa primarily economic aspect. So, kung unsa ka progressive and how developed a certain place is, mo na ang gibasihan ni Sassin. Sassin was able to produce books, and one of the books that she wrote was The Global City. In that book, she initially identified 3 global cities, New York, London, and Tokyo. Ang New York, London, ug ang Tokyo, they are the core or the center of global finance and capitalism around the world. Actually, ang New York mo ay pinakauna, kaduha is ang Tokyo, and sunod ang London. That is why they are considered as the home of world's top stock exchanges. But pasabot nga ang mga investors ani mo palit at the same time ani sab sila magtinda sa ilang mga shares because majority of major corporations can be found in these cities. So parehaan ni, New York has the New York Stock Exchange. London has the Financial Times Stock Exchange. And Tokyo has the Nikkei. Recent commentators have expanded the criteria that Sassin used to determine what constitutes a global city. Take this an example. Although it is not wealthy as New York, movie-making Mecca Los Angeles can now rival the Big Apple's cultural influence. Ang Big Apple's ana is ang nickname sa New York City. Ang Los Angeles kaya nang makipagsabayan sa New York City when it comes to filmmaking. Next is San Francisco must now factor in as another global city because it is the home of the most powerful internet companies. So, para sa itong mga common nga gigamit ron sa social media such as Facebook, Twitter, and Google. Kani sila gikan ni sa or nag-originate ni sila sa San Francisco, California. Then, the growth of the Chinese economy has turned cities like Shanghai, Beijing, and Guangzhou into centers of trade and finance. So, in the late 1990s, the Chinese government reopened the Shanghai Stock Exchange, and since then, it has grown to become the 5th largest stock market in the world. Sumasabay din ang China when it comes sa kinoconsidered as a global city. So now, we have the indicators of globality. So, the foremost characteristic of a global city is economic power. So, para sa giingin ni Sassin, nga, ang global city is, ang iyang criteria is nag-base sa economic aspects, kung unsa ka progressive and how developed ang certain place is. So, mo nang gibasihan ni Sassin. Then, economic power largely determines which cities are global. So, for example, ang New York. New York, it has the largest stock market around the world. However, ang Tokyo in Japan, it houses the most number of corporate headquarters. So, could you imagine? 613 company headquarters ang nakabase sa Tokyo, Japan. But, 217 ra ang sa New York. So actually, New York and Tokyo, they are the closest competitors. Ang New York mo ay pinaka top 1, then ang top 2 is ang Tokyo. Then another example is ang Shanghai in China. Ang Shanghai in China is gamay ra silag stock market kung i-compare nimo sa New York o sa Tokyo. But it takes critical role in the global economic supply chain. Sukad nga ang China nahimong manufacturing center around the world. So kung nakabantay mo ang mga products din sa Philippines, mostly ang nakabutang is made in China. Kay kasagaran sa mga products is dito gihimo sa China. So then, economic opportunities in a global city make it attractive to talents from across the world. So, Actually, since 1970s, many of our excellent and competent IT programmers and engineers from Asia ningbalhin sa San Francisco, California because they want to become part of the Silicon Valley. So, kababa mo nga, ang Silicon Valley is kanang makita nato sa San Francisco, California nga isa sa company nga nag-serves as a global center for high technology and innovation. So mo nakasagaran sa atong mga IT programmers or mga engineers tuaning balhin sa San Francisco, California because they want to become part of the Silicon Valley. So another example ang London. London is a preferred destination sa mga Filipinos nga with nursing degrees. Kay sa London, in demand gyapon ang nursing. Mao kasagaran sa mga Filipinos tuwa sa London nagtrabaho because sa opportunity and isa pa mas dakag sweldo sa London kung i-compare nimo sa Philippines. So next, to measure the economic competitiveness of a city, the Economic Intelligence Unit has added other criteria like market size, purchasing power of citizens, size of the middle class, and potential for growth. So, based on criteria, makasud si Singapore. Diba kay bawta nga si Singapore is gamay ra siya nga country, but the tiny Singapore is considered as Asia's most competitive city because of its strong market, efficient and incorruptible government, and livability. So, si Singapore is mo sunod ni Tokyo, Japan kung sa Asia ra. Then, according to some studies, Singapore is widely regarded as one of the safest countries to live in the world, with consistent low crime rates, a transparent legal system, low poverty, and so on. So next one, global cities are also centers of authority. Washington, D.C. may not be as wealthy as New York, but it is the seat of American state power. So Dani, nabantay na nato nga dili lang siya nagre-rely sa economic power para makaingon ta nga kana nga city is global city. Kay base sa atong example nga ang Washington DC dili siya wealthy or dili siya dato kung i-compare nimo sa New York, but it is the seat of American state power. Mao nga gi-consider siya as part of the global city. Then, similarly, compared with Sydney and Melbourne, Canberra is a sleepy town and not attractive to tourists, but as Australia's political capital, it is home to the country's top politicians, bureaucrats, and policy advisors. So when we say bureaucrats, it's referring to government officials. So diba ang Canberra gi-consider po siya as part of the global city because gi-consider siya sa Australia as political capital and majority of the government officials didto gikan aning mga lugara. Then, sagaran sab sa mga government officials din hinagpuyo. So, as
Angeles, the center of American film. Los Angeles is now competing with New York when it comes to filmmaking. But we need to take note that the center of the American industry is Los Angeles. And the next one is Copenhagen, Denmark. Copenhagen is the capital of Denmark. Actually, ang Copenhagen is only a small place. And according to some articles, ang Copenhagen is pwede nimong liboton using your bike. And moreover, it is not a home of major stock, unlike sa New York and Tokyo. But it is considered as part of the global city. Why? Because of culinary capitals. So, Copenhagen, Denmark is now considered as one of the culinary capitals of the world with its top restaurant and commensurate. Similarly, Manchester, England, many prominent post-punk and new wave bands, the Joy Divisions, the Smiths, and the Happy Mondays, hailed from this city, making it a global household name. So now, do you already understand what is global city? Global city is not relying sa economic power or economic aspect or not depend sa kadato or progressive or ka-develop to make it call global city. Just like sa Manchester, England, dinhi na originate ang famous group boy band. And next is the Southeast Asia, and one of it is Singapore. Singapore is slowly becoming a cultural center for the region. Singapore houses some of the region's top television stations and new organizations, MTV Southeast Asia and Channel News Asia. It various art galleries and cinemas also show paintings from artists and filmmakers from Philippines and Thailand. So it is very nice because they features the Filipino and the Thai. So that is the Singapore. Today, global cities become culturally diverse. So there is still diversity, may pagkakaiba. Just like for example, a global city can try cuisines from different part of the world. Just like sa Berlin, Germany, and same as Tokyo, Japan, since kani nga lugar, they have large populations, so ang ilang gibuhat, they offered some of the best Turkish food which one can find even he or she not in Turkey. So, they depend kung unsa ang in-demand since daghan ang Turkish people ang nagpuyo sa kaninga lugar. And now, the question is, Manila can be considered as global as of now? So, Manila is not very global because of dearth of foreign residents. Simply put, we have a shortage when it comes to foreign residents in our country. Sa hayrata makakita og mga foreigners na nagpuyo sa Pilipinas, particularly sa Manila. But ang mga Filipinos, if their husband or wife is foreigners, they usually live sa lugar sa foreigner. So, we rarely seen a foreigner living in the Philippines. But in Singapore, it is considered because it has foreign population of 38% in our country. So, it is still matter here the percentage of the population of the foreigner that living in our country. So now, why do we need to study global cities? Globalization is a spatial because it occurs in physical spaces. More people are driving out of cities center to make way for the new developments. You can see it when foreign investment and capital move through a city and when companies build skyscrapers. Skyscrapers is ganantang as na building and you can see it in the big cities. Globalization is special because what makes it move is the fact that it is based in places. For example, again, Los Angeles. Los Angeles is an home of Hollywood. It is where movies are made for global consumption. So another one, the main headquarters of Sony is in Tokyo. So we already know what is Sony. It is a brand name of appliances and I think it is a branding of phone before. Also, so from their company coordinates the sale of its various branches around the world. So, in other words, cities act on globalization and globalization acts on cities. So, moving to the challenges. So, what are the challenges of global cities? Global cities also have their undersides. They can be sites of great inequality and poverty as well as tremendous violence. Global cities create winners and losers. So, just like the concept of North and South, there is inequality. It still have the gap between the rich and poor countries. Denser settlement patterns, you have energy savings. So, what do you mean by denser? So, denser, it means compact or crowded. So, if settlement is compact or crowded, it have advantage because it can yield energy saving. Just like for example, the apartment building. Apartment building are more efficient to heat and cool than detached suburban house. In cities with extensive public transportation systems, people tend to drive less and thereby cut carbon emissions. Not all cities are dense as New York or Tokyo. Some cities like Los Angeles are urban sprawls with massive freeways that force residents to spend money on cars and gas. But before to continue, urban is a cities and rural is a province. So, urban areas consume most of the world's energy. Cities only cover 2% of the world's landmass, but they consume 78% of global energy. Therefore, if carbon emissions must be cut to prevent global warming, this massive energy consumption in cities must be curbed. But we have to remember also that this action will require a lot of creativity. Just like for example, many food products ang tina-travel from one place to another before maabot sa major cities. Ang dali or sayon i-deliver or i-travel ang products. So what are the mode of transmission they use to make it easier and faster? So most of the time they use bus, train, or even airplanes, and now they still consume gas. Therefore, the carbon emission will increase. An additional, why do we consider carbon emission bad? Of course, because they contribute pollution, climate change, and global warming.
Will it be possible to grow more food in cities? Is it okay instead of importing food products from other countries? Hindi ba pwedeng mag-produce na lang tayo or ang bawat lugar sa kanilang sariling lugar ng mga foods? Actually, there are cities who have been practicing the so-called vertical farms. Do you know what is vertical farms? Example of that is abandoned buildings. They convert abandoned buildings to become a vertical farm, and pinapractice na ito ng New York City. When we talk about city, it is syudad. Siyempre, in cities, maliliit lang yung mga lupa at masisikip. Unlike sa mga probinsya, malawak yung lupain, malasyenda na mga lupain na pwede kang magtanim. But they are wise. Tungod kay Piot, ilang gihimo nagplan sila pataas. Dili parehas sa atuang nga nag-landscape o mag-landscape ta magtanom. Sa ilaha, vertical, not horizontal. The challenges of global cities. The major terror attacks of recent years have also targeted cities. Cities, especially with a global influence, are obvious target for terrorists. One is the 9/11 attack, World Trade Center, New York, or September 11, 2001. Pagpapasabog sa World Trade Center ng mga teroristang Muslim. Number 2, November 2015 attacks in Paris by Islamic State. Cities those with global influencer are obvious target for terrorists. The global city and the poor. There are many cities that experience inequality. Particularly those in the developing countries are sites of contradiction. In places like Mumbai in India, Jakarta in Indonesia, and Manila in Philippines, it is common to find gleaming buildings alongside massive shanty towns. Scandinavia. It denotes the countries of Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. Cities in Scandinavia, even other countries, experience inequality. But they implemented ways to at least minimize or lessen the inequality in the respective place. What they do is they implement redistribution program. What is gentrification? Gentrification is a phenomenon of driving out the poor in favor of newer and wealthier residents. As a city attracts more capital and richer residents, the price of the products are increasing, and poor residents have no choice but to relocate and go far away to look for a place not deeper on prices. And this is what we call gentrification. Globalization creates high-income jobs that are concentrated in global cities. Workers that works in global cities have paid more, they generate demand for an unskilled labor force. They need a helper, maid, driver. Why? To meet their increasing needs. Many middle-income jobs, particularly in manufacturing and business, they process outsourcing. Outsourcing is a strategy in one company. Kumukuha ng service mula sa isa o higit pang company with pay. Third-party involvement. It happened in Philippines. Example is the call center. Sa kagustuhang makatipid sa mga gastusin ng company, mas prefer nila kumuha ng service ng kumpanyang nagmumula sa Asia, such as Philippines, kasi alam nila na mababa raw ang work rates ng mga Filipino or affordable yung bayad. Kung saan mas mura ay doon sila. Do you know that New York are high-rolling American investment bankers whose children are raised by Filipino maids?